Can you share your journey to becoming a real estate agent?
Share my journey. So when I first started, I joined as a property investor and tried to basically do property investing and trading with a business partner. And I felt that I lacked a lot of social and sales skills. So the reason that I wanted to join to become a real estate agent was to become better at negotiating, dealing with people. And I felt the environment of surrounding yourself with other people in that environment was really helpful, because if you're just working alone in yourself in your office, you're not really in this conducive in sales environment. So I read Grant Cardone's book on, I think it was the 10X rule, or sell or be sold. And he said to be really good at sales, you need to surround yourself with other people. And that was kind of the journey that I followed to then join up as a commercial agent, which didn't work too well, and then onto a residential agent. And yeah, it's been quite a fun journey in the past couple of years.
How did managing a $120 million property investment fund shape your understanding of people's needs and desires?
Good question. So with the property investment as a property manager, it was a lot of different problems every day. It's basically called problem management. So when I was in, I'd have about 70 properties, and every single day there's new problems that come through, and there could be water leaks, lights breaking. It could be big problems like we're negotiating $400,000 leases. And what it taught me is time management and prioritization, and trying to focus on the top most priority tasks and trying to delegate the smaller things, and trying to help. We'd always have contractors. We'd probably sent out maybe 300 to 400 maintenance requests to all these contractors, and half the time I didn't even see the property. I just say, send a photo, get the maintenance request, get it all done and dusted. So I'd say a lot of the time management and also time management and prioritization, that really helped in terms of setting up the next steps to become an agent.
Yeah, absolutely. That's key. Cool. And what motivated you to pursue a Bachelor of Property honors degree?
Originally, I got into real estate because I was trying to focus on what is the key way to get financial freedom and earn money while you sleep. And I felt property was quite a good way to invest into it in the long term, and the tenants pay you rent in the long term. So I decided I want to become a property investor. I want to manage property. So that's why I decided to do property management, to know how to manage my own portfolio. And then I thought, well, I need the skills to know how to buy them and buy them successfully, so which is why I joined sales. So I'd say the reason I got into the property investment role was partly parents related, but then also I wanted to build financial freedom in the long term and see it as an asset class to build wealth, make lots of money.
There you go. Sweet. So how have your successful property trade projects contributed to your expertise in property trading and investment?
So I had a company called ResiLight back in the day, a couple of years ago, and we did around 3 property trades where we bought, renovated, or bought and did some concept plans for developments, and would resell the property with added value onto, say, developers or investors. And the real benefit was that we got to learn exactly what that target market of the buyer wants, and then also how to deal with the customer in terms of giving them what they need in terms of the settlement time, price, and trying to structure. It's all about structuring a deal, which was quite interesting. And what the skills I learned is about development sites and what developers want, what they don't want, what are the really good sites, and essentially working out exactly where the value of property is, so that I can make an assessment of what is a good deal and what isn't. Because at the end of the day, I'd say any property purchase could be a really good purchase at the right price. I get people that walk through, they say, oh, this is a terrible buy. But then you just say, well, at the right price, if you could buy it for 100,000, would you buy it? And they say, yep, I'd definitely buy it. So it all comes down to price and seeing what value you can add in that property.
Nice. And what strategies did you use to keep your clients informed and provide an excellent service?
Strategies we use as a team. So WhatsApp is very important, so we maintain constant communication with them every single day when selling their property. So daily communication on WhatsApp. We have the weekly meetings on Monday to talk about what the buyers like, they didn't like, feedback, any offers. And I think frequency builds trust in real estate. So the more we talk to someone, the more trust we're going to build with them. It's like talking to a relationship partner. The more you talk to them, the more you get trusted with them. Whereas if, let's say, you give the agent the listing, they'd give you one call a week, and then the rest of the week the client's wondering, what are we doing? Like, is it, are they doing it? Are they working for us? So for us, it's about constant communication and asking, what can we do different? Is any improvement? And that's really valuable to help get property sold and build that trust with the client, because we're here to help them get the maximum price.
Cool. And what unique challenges have you faced in the real estate industry, and how did you overcome them?
Unique challenges. Probably one of the unique challenges that I ran into was getting over speaking to lots of different random people all the time and trying to connect with them. And trying to connect with someone in a shorter period of time, because people want to do business with other people that are friends with them rather than people that are not friends. So how do we connect with someone really quickly? Give them a compliment, speak to them in a similar tonality that they speak. If they're more relaxed than relaxed, you want to be more relaxed. If they're more upbeat, energetic, shake your hand hard, then we want to match that energy. And I'd try and always be a positive person. So talk about the weather always in a positive light. Give them compliments on their furniture in their house or their style or their awards, and trying to be genuinely interested in who they are. That's really important to build that trust. And the faster you build the trust, the more they're friends with you. And then they're like, I want to do business with this person, because they're almost like they're just a mate at the end of the day. So I'd say the key I'd say in real estate is, how do we build trust and connection really quickly with someone and provide value? And this is and that's basically the success formula that I'd say.
Nice. Can you share a memorable success story where you delivered exceptional results for your clients?
Yeah, so there was a client that we had on Hillside Road in Papatoi, and they basically needed to sell to upsize into a 4 or 5 bedroom home, and they worked out that their minimum figure they needed was about $1,000 to get it sold through auction. And we always recommend auction in terms of creating that buyer competition. And we ran the campaign. We had around 7 bidders on the day. I thought the property was going to be maximum $900K. That was the maximum I thought. I wasn't going to go a dollar higher. And we went to auction. There was the neighbor bidding with another property investor. So the bidding went to $850, hit the reserve, went to $850, $900, sold for $940 under the hammer. So another $40,000. And I don't think they would have ever got that price if they didn't have these 2 emotional buyers bidding in competition. And essentially our job as agents is competition creators, because the more competition we can create, the better result we get for the vendor. Of course, look, the buyer's they're paying more money for a house that they really, really like, but it's setting the vendor up for that next step, so that they can make the next move, make the next purchase, and carry on with their life.
Cool. And how do you stay updated with the latest trends and changes in the real estate market?
The trends is probably a lot of keeping up to date with all the trends. So we follow the ANZ market reports. So looking at their weekly email, talking about the market update with where the property market's tracking. I like looking at their forecast graph. Who even knows if it's even true? But following the ANZ reports. Next thing we look at is we look at the auction stats and see what is the success rate. Is things selling really quickly? Is it taking longer to sell? And the next thing is the Reserve Bank, which they always like to change all their mind with the interest rates all the time. So that's a really good indicator of how things are going with the property market, is looking at the banks, looking at the reserve, and then just reading and watching, say you got to look at the mass media, but that take it with a pinch of salt, because they always try and sell you the good story, and then make your own assessment of where the market's sitting. Currently, we've seen our auction properties about 75 to 85 are selling successfully. So the market is, I'd say, quite normal in the moment, which is quite good.
Good stuff. And how do you approach property renovations to maximize value before selling?
Property renovations. So we recommend a few different companies. The first one, Green and Clean. Now they do just a basic water blast the whole driveway, water blast all the fences, house wash, and that first impression is really important. So they'll do gardens, water blast, tidy. So it's almost like the first date. When you walk up in front of someone, you need to have that
clean.
First impression has to be very good. It's like love at first sight.
Yeah.
And that's the first step. The next step is once you walk in the home, you want to have everything decluttered as much as possible. You want to have a clean house, and less furniture is always more, because we want to make that space feel really open and spacious. If they do need, say, painting, they want to replace the shower, do a bit of tiling, replace the carpet. We've got other companies that would help with that as well. That could set the owner back a bit more money, but that's the main thing, is just presentation, and then also staging the property is really important if it's vacant, to make the buyers feel really welcome and spend longer time in the property.
Any tips for first-time home buyers entering the market?
First-time home buyers, I'd say the number one thing is speak to a mortgage broker. So we've got a company, Float Mortgages, and they've got a team of 5 or 6. They do hundreds of $1 million of mortgages every year, and they can give you an assessment based on your income, what the time frame is to get a loan, how much your pre-approval can be, and they can give you a bit of a goal setting session if you don't have enough deposit, on how much deposit you need for that next purchase. So the first thing is speak to a mortgage advisor, get an assessment of your financial position. Once they say you can get an approval of $900,000 and you need to save a deposit of $100,000 or $150,000, then you've got some evidence to come speak to us as an agent and say, this is our budget, we want to buy this type of property, and then you can start putting offers on. So the first step, mortgage broker; second step, real estate agent. And then once that's done, then you can start putting offers on and setting up and buying the property.
What makes South Auckland a desirable location for property investment?
South Auckland is one of the best yielding property environments for the Auckland area. So what that means is there's more rental return for investors. So you're going to get a similar type of increase in capital appreciation, but then the rental return is going to be higher to help pay off that mortgage sooner. So I'd say that's the one benefit. The second one, there's a high volume of turnover of stocks. So there's a lot of transactions always happening. So property investors that want to renovate, sell properties, there's a lot of buyers that can buy these properties quick and easy. So it is a property market that turns over quickly and has a higher rental return, which is really good for the investment side, development side, as well as and long-term holding.
How important is marketing in the real estate industry, and what strategies do you use to attract buyers?
Marketing is pretty vital in our avenues. So we, as an agent, we spend sometimes upwards of $100,000 on Facebook marketing, and that really gets the brand exposure for our clients. There's some people spend more time on Facebook than Trade Me these days. The next thing is we spend on, say, Google adverts. There's newspaper ads, there's flyers, there's letters. We do sometimes 2,000 letters a week, 3,000 flyers per week. And it's all about the market exposures. If you expose a property to more people, it's like a fishing net. If we get a big fishing net, we're going to capture more buyers and push up that price higher. But if you just have one small line in and you're waiting for one buyer to come with one line, it's going to be very tough to get that premium price. So marketing is really important to get that exposure when selling a property.
How do you handle negotiations to ensure the best outcome for your clients?
The best outcome is trying to find out exactly what the buyer really likes about the property, and then trying to sell the property on those attributes to them. And the next thing is to create scarcity. So no one really wants to pay the maximum budget that they have, but if we take the property away from them, such as either in an auction environment, let's say for example, if there's 2 babies on the ground, one picks up the toy, what does the other one want right next to him? He wants the toy as well. And that's just like auctions. So the more competitive environment we can create, in the auction room, then the real money comes out because no one really wants to pay their maximum price. And that's also with, say, negotiation. If we get a few multiple offers, we'll create a multi-offer procedure where we'll put a deadline date for all buyers, give them all a fair chance to put their highest and best on paper, and they have to put their highest and best on paper or the property is going to be gone and sold. And that typically yields the best result for our vendors because the buyers are in that competitive environment.
Nice. Can you share insights into the auction process and your success as the #1 auction lister in the whole of Raiwa, New Zealand?
Thank you. I'd say the insights into the auction process, number one is trying to focus really hard on the first 3 weeks. So we want to be focused on getting as many buyers through the property as possible. And the way that we pitch the property to the buyers is we don't tell them what we think it's going to sell for at the end of the day. We're here to get the buyers in at any level because the more buyers in competition would yield a better result for the client. And the next step is setting a reserve price that is competitive. So if we have a reserve price at the auction floor that's competitive, it means that once it hits on the market and it passes that reserve price, we typically see sometimes a 4 to 6% increase in the bids. Sometimes we've had 10 or 15% higher in price that is achieved over reserve. And it's all about creating that competition between the bidders. So that's basically the auction process and how we do it.
And maintain strong relationships with the clients post-transaction.
Probably the best thing is to follow up with the clients every week, or 1 day after the transaction, 2 days, 1 week, 1 month, and trying to just maintain constant communication after the transaction to see if they need any help, how's the new house looking, and just checking in with them because some real estate agents would sell the property and then say run away and you'll never hear from them again. So having either a text, email, or call just to keep that touch point is really important. And that builds the connection in the future. If they ever have a friend or family that also wants to sell, that's where we can build our business even more, is to maintain that connection and see if we can help them in the future if they ever need any property help.
What common misconceptions do people have about our industry and how do you address them?
I'd say for real estate agents looking to get into real estate, it's a lot easier than it looks. People think, oh, you make lots of money, you just put up a signboard and the buyers come through. Probably the toughest part of real estate is trying to maintain a connection and with a lot of clients at one time and getting someone to a point where they are happy and convinced that you are the best agent to sell their property. So I know in New Zealand there's 16,000 other real estate agents and they're all competing against each other. And normally you'd be in the race against 1 or 2 other real estate agents. And if they're 1% better than you, they've won the business and you've lost out. So as a new agent, you think it's all easy. I thought I was going to cake it in the first, say, 5 months of real estate sales in South Auckland. I thought I was going to sell like 100 homes really easily. And it took a few months before even selling one. And after I sold my first one after a couple months, then it clicked and I understood exactly how it works. And now we've built a team of 5 and we've sold about close to 100 in the past year and a half, which is pretty cool.
Pretty cool. It's a milestone. How do you handle difficult situations or conflicts during the transaction?
I'd say any difficult situation, it's important to always just think about what's the worst case, what's the best case scenario, and just play it out. Because sometimes these difficult situations are not really going to be, it's not a huge thing in the next 5 years. Let's say 5 years from now, is this really going to be a big situation? Probably not. It's just a small little issue that was solved and you get over it. And if you look at the worst case scenario of everything is that the sun explodes and everyone dies, which, okay, we've accepted that could happen and now let's move on. So it's always looking at the worst case scenario. Look, no one's going to die. It's all right. No one's hopefully not going to die. And then let's try fix it. Let's go for the best case scenario and try rectify it and be positive to say, look, admit if something's wrong. Look, I made a mistake. Please forgive me, and we're here to make it better. Let's do some damage control and keep a positive attitude.
Nice. What are your goals and aspirations for your real estate career?
Right now, our goal is to list around 18 auctions per month. So that's going to hit us to do around about 130 to 140 sales per year. And the next step is to then start to build that financial asset class. So starting to buy investment properties to build that portfolio, and then also trying to build the team around us. So leveling up with the sales associates so that they can start to list property themselves, be more involved with the transactions so that we can actually grow the team. And the more the team can grow, the more we can run a bigger, better team with more people that are all working together. So it's a team effort, but then also seeing how we can achieve success through others, which I really enjoy doing.
How do you leverage technology to streamline and enhance the real estate buying and selling process?
The most important thing in real estate that we use is an iPad. And iPads, we do all our contracts on, we do our listing presentations to clients on the iPad, and we sign up all sale and purchase agreements on the iPad. So we're completely paperless in that form. And I think that's an absolute game changer for any real estate agent or any person that's wanting to do property, is to get an iPad, and it just saves so much time to just sign and just send an email to someone. It's all writing on glass.
On the go.
That's the best way.
How do you determine the optimal listing price for a property?
Optimal listing price, the best way is just to look at the recent sales and to see where's the market sitting based on recent sales. And we always speak to the client and say, look, there's three prices. There's my price, your price, and the buyer. And we don't know what the buyer is. But what we're going to do is we're going to look at the maths. This is where the mathematics sit for your property. And look, we could get higher. I've seen property sell 100,000 more than what I thought, just because of the right marketing and strategy. So our goal is always to get higher, but we look at the maths and say, this is where it's likely to sit. Let's see if we can get more. That's the goal.
What role does networking play in the real estate industry, and how do you build and maintain a strong network?
Networking, the most important thing is maintaining contact with, say, we focus on the bigger players in the marketplace. So if we can maintain contact with, say, developers, investors, they do have a lot more properties that would transact with them in the long term. And also we deal with individual sellers. So the general first home buyer, second home buyer, they're also really important to. That's kind of also our bread and butter. So it's kind of a two-prong approach where you maintain contact with the people that sell quite a lot of properties, because that's how you can help get first home buyer stock. And the next step is also to maintain relationships with other potential vendors, which are single or multiple family home owners. And we do that through keeping in touch through email, text messages. We call them. So if they are interested to sell in the next 12 months, we'll maintain a relationship, give them a call each either month, week, or every second day if they're looking to list soon. So it's through the calls, it's providing value. It's always trying to say, this is what's sold in the area. This is what the market's doing. This is what we sold over here. How does it compare to yours? If we had the right price with a buyer, should we mention your property? And just trying to see how we can provide value at all times.
What strategies do you use to market properties to international buyers and investors?
International buyers, probably the main portals, which is trademeandrealestate.com. We do see a lot of exposure through, say, the USA, Australia, some other Asian countries. And essentially it's just the main online portals that we use to market around there. Facebook marketing, we do it very locally based within a 5-kilometer radius. So those are the platforms that we use for that international market.
How do you stay motivated and enthusiastic in a highly competitive industry?
I'd say reading and watching self-development podcasts and videos is really important, because you become the person that you surround yourself the most with. So if you surround yourself, the top 5 people you surround yourself with are going to become more like you. So if you're listening to an hour a day of podcast self-motivation, you're becoming more like that person in terms of that knowledge. The next thing is making sure we try to get at least 30 minutes of exercise a day, having a cold ice bath in the morning.
Build a good routine.
Try not to die and trying to eat healthy. So not eating breakfast in the morning and maintaining whole foods, healthy foods. Try not to eat too much junk food. And that's kind of the strategy to keep energy levels uplifted. And so feed the body with good food and feed the brain with good information.
Cool. Can you share any insights on the importance of location when it comes to property investment?
I'd say with property investment, the main thing we want to focus on is close to transport routes, the city centre or town centre, and close to the shops and public transport. So those are the main things that buyers are looking at. If they get walking distance to the shops, the schools, amenities, that's probably the most important thing. We've seen development properties that would sell 100 to 200,000 more in price just because they're maybe 1 kilometre closer to the best transport routes. So location is probably really important, and that could also play with school zones as well. So that's what I'd be looking at for. Very good. Done.
30 questions. Next slide.